Yo, birthday boy here. Um, uh, man, say you get like casted in your first movie ever. It's gonna be your big break. It's a Marvel movie too. Then they just cancel that thing. Like, uh... anyways, let's get into it.
So it really seems like Marvel Studios last year took a really hard look at
All right,
themselves in the mirror. And not just
okay. My stuff a little glitchy right now. What's going on? Let's get back over here. All right, there we go.
at themselves, but at fans as well. And at some point in time, Marvel Studios decided to change what they were currently doing in the MCU and go in a different direction than what they had planned. And I think that it's going to really work out. And I also believe that it's going to solve kind of a pretty decent problem that Marvel Studios has right now, at least one that I've heard a lot of fans complaining about. Now, it's a great thing that Marvel Studios has actually taken the time to evaluate themselves. And that includes really taking a look at everything, taking a look at the projects that they have released, the space between the projects that they have released, how many they released in a year, how they performed, and what the fans thought of them. And if they didn't perform well, they took a look at why they didn't perform well. Was it the characters? Was it the writing? Was it the quality overall? Marvel Studios has really done some thinking, and through that process, they have come up with a new plan on how they want to proceed from here on out in the MCU till the end of the multiverse saga with Avengers Secret Wars. And this has been made pretty clear by, well, Marvel themselves and the actors who are playing characters in the MCU. The biggest change obviously came with the announcement that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom. And they did exactly what they wanted to do at San Diego Comic-Con. They didn't reveal the entirety of Phase 6, they really didn't announce too many new projects. What they did was announce that Avengers Kang Dynasty was now going to be Avengers Doomsday, and they could have left it at that. That really would have got everybody talking about it. Everybody would have been speculating from there on out who could possibly be coming into the MCU to play Doctor Doom. But instead, to get people talking even more, they announced that Robert Downey Jr., the man who started the MCU, the man who people view as Iron Man, the Iron Man, is returning to play Doctor Doom, the villain of the multiverse saga. And of course, this got everybody talking. Whether you liked what they did or not, you were talking about it. But what this did in actuality is completely change the direction that Marvel Studios was going to go in the MCU. It changed everything. Kang the Conqueror is no longer the villain of the MCU. The Council of Kangs are gone. Time travel, multiverse travel has different implications now. Some characters are no longer going to appear in certain stories in the MCU. In fact, we found out yesterday that Armor Wars is pretty much canceled. It's pretty much there with Blade now. It's in the void, I would say. Marvel producer Nate Moore revealed this yesterday, and when he talked about it, he basically confirmed, yeah, Marvel's plans have changed. The story for the entire multiverse saga have changed. So this story that we wanted to tell for Armor Wars, for Rhodey / War Machine, it's not gonna happen. It's not necessarily never gonna happen, but it's definitely not happening right now. This is what he said. You know, that's not my project, to be honest, but I do know as Marvel Studios continues to go through this phase, we want to make sure whatever we're making is awesome. So that means we had to slow down some things that were on the front burner. It doesn't mean we'll never make it, but it does mean we just have to be a little bit more considered so that every time out, audiences are guaranteed quality. Now, I am one of the people who was looking forward to Armor Wars. I think it would be a really good story if they showed us that Rhodey really was there after Civil War, during Infinity War and Endgame. They totally need to erase the fact that he was taken by the Skrull after Civil War, like right away. They need to erase that. If they did that, the movie could have been very interesting. But unfortunately, it sounds like with the script and with the story they had so far, it just wasn't there. And Marvel Studios is no longer going to release things that, well, one, don't really fit into the overall story that they are telling for the saga that they are in, and two, they're not going to release something that's not really good quality. Both things are amazing, especially for the people who have been watching the MCU since Phase 4 and felt like a lot of it doesn't really connect that much anymore. And this is pretty much the same reason that Marvel Studios has delayed Blade. It doesn't really fit overall with what they're doing specifically for this saga. Will Blade come out? Well, that's a question mark. I believe it will, especially because I know we're leading to the Midnight Suns. And Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, has specifically talked about the supernatural, darker side of the MCU, and we are going into that with Ironheart pretty soon. But Marvel is saving that overall story for the next saga because it doesn't fit into this one, and that is a really, really good thing. And the future of Marvel Studios, I think right now, has never been brighter. Now, of course, there are some projects that they already made before this decision and they're going to release. Captain America, Brave New World. The Thunderbolts, Ironheart. Marvel's actually been sitting on Ironheart for a pretty long time. But the thing is, Marvel Studios actually has a lot of shows in development right now. The head of Marvel Television, Brad Winderbaum, confirmed this. But he did also confirm that not all of the projects that they're working on are going to be seen. They're not all going to be made. Only the best of the best, pretty much. So here's what this means moving forward. With the exception of a few projects that are coming out this year, is all going to link into one big, greater story, which is the multiverse saga story of Doctor Doom. Incursions happening, the multiverse being destroyed, variants running into each other, going to other different universes like Deadpool and Wolverine, the whole shebang, but on a bigger scale. And that's fantastic. That's what we want. We want an overall giant connected story with some stories about individual characters worked in there as well, obviously, like Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4 is now forced to be connected to Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's going in between the two of them. Will we get a personal Spider-Man story? Of course, it's about Spider-Man, but the overall arching story is within the multiverse saga and will heavily connect. The same thing goes for any other project that we might get in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, whether that be Doctor Strange 3, Thor 5, it's all going to connect to Doom, basically, and the destruction of the multiverse. And Marvel Studios is not going to tackle a project anytime between now and Avengers Secret Wars, and hopefully forever, that they don't feel is going to be, one, the best quality that they can produce, and two, something that they think fans are going to enjoy. Which is why they have begun a lot of development already on the next part of the MCU, the next saga, the mutant era. We've been hearing a lot of news about this recently. Marvel Studios is definitely working very hard to plan the next phase and saga of the MCU, and since they now have a bigger plan, it looks like, and have really dedicated themselves to really not releasing anything that isn't up to their quality, that next saga should be amazing. I mean, it's already kind of really amazing to a lot of people already because we're finally going to get a universe in which the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four, and everybody else in between, can all finally exist together and interact with each other. I mean, that's already a massive win, but now that we know that Marvel Studios has really stopped and just self-assessed and they are now moving forward, a lot more cautiously, I will say, whatever they had planned before, we know is going to be better now. And that is going to bleed into the X-Men, which is what kind of everybody has their eyes on right now after Secret Wars. But even right now, it's about to get incredibly exciting. We have Captain America Brave New World coming out next week. Then we have a brand new team joining the MCU, the Thunderbolts. Then we dive into the Fantastic Four. From there we get Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and possibly Doctor Strange 3, Thor 5, Shang-Chi 2. We're not really sure what's coming in between, but then Secret Wars. And Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is the villain of this all. Marvel definitely cooked with this, and you can tell they took their time, they reassessed, they changed courses, and now sounds like we're about to get a hell of an ending to this saga. We're not really close to the end yet, which is crazy, but it's about to get pretty real, which makes us really excited for the next step as well, the X-Men. So, one, I congratulate Marvel for taking a step back and really assessing what you were doing and changing your course, realizing that what you were doing wasn't exactly working the best. I've never thought Marvel was dead. I have enjoyed a lot of it since Phase 4. There were obviously some misses and I didn't enjoy some things, but some things were really great, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Shang-Chi was amazing, Deadpool and Wolverine. There's some great things that happened, but for them to want to take it even higher than before.
I think next Friday, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, next Friday, because yesterday was 7 days. The 14th. Oh, we don't got no Valentine's, but we can go watch a movie on Valentine's Day. Anyways, I'm gonna see you on the next one.